So it looks like for 2026, Donald Trump is looking to amp up his attacks on America. And this is going to be starting with the recruitment push for ICE. I want to go over this with you and let's jump right in. So headline then, ICE plans 100 million, quote, wartime recruitment, what they're calling this, push targeting gun shows, military fans for hires. Okay, so it's going to be those kind of people, right? Gun show, military fans. They've already been using these kind of advertisements, which resemble video games and movies and such. And today he was even tweeting out some sort of film clip of like Russell Crowe, and they're trying to compare Trump to Crowe in the Gladiator, that kind of thing. This is what they're putting out there. Let's get some more details on this. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement officials are planning to spend $100 million over a 1-year period to recruit gun rights supporters and military enthusiasts through online influencers and geo-targeted advertising campaign. And when they mention the online influencer thing, so that means probably they're going to funnel money through Elon Musk and whoever, right-wing influencer people. Already I've noticed that Elon Musk has been ramping up the attacks. And this is what they're in preparation for, right? To do this recruitment drive for more ICE mass goons around the country. And you can see it happening right here. Part of what the agency calling, quote, a wartime recruitment strategy, it said was critical to hiring thousands of new deportation officers nationwide, according to an internal document. All right. Where are you going to do this? It says the spending would help President Trump's mass deportation agenda dominate media networks, recruitment channels, including through ads targeting people who have attended UFC fights. Okay, these are the people that they want to get, fans of UFC essentially. Listen to, quote, patriotic podcasts, and you can define that any way you want. Or shown an interest in guns and tactical gear, according to a 30-page document distributed among officials in the summer, detailing ICE, quote, surge hiring marketing strategy. So they're going after, you can just see it. People like UFC, guns, military, such. And when you're going to recruit all of these people, I highly doubt any of them will be trained that well. This really appears to be like a South Park timeline. If you guys have been watching South Park, you'll know they are basically showing how, you give ICE people like a slideshow for 10 seconds, give them a gun, throw them in a van, and just have at it. You're setting yourself up for really a disaster, and ICE has already been a disaster, but even more so. Department of Homeland Security has spoken publicly about its fast track. See, like literally they're talking about, it's so crazy how South Park's like a documentary these days. Okay, so they want a fast track effort to significantly increase ICE workforce by hiring more than 10,000 new employees. Okay. A surge promoted on social media with calling recruits willing to perform, quote, sacred duties, what they're calling this, defend the homeland, foreign invaders, blah, blah, blah. Agency currently employs more than 20,000 people. So I guess we're going from 20,000 to 30,000 theoretically. My understanding is also, and this is probably separate from, say, FBI, but I know they're lowering the standards of the FBI. That was something that we had talked about before, lessening the recruitment time, lowering the educational requirements, etc. And many people already, it's like, well, that means they want to get Trump people in. What else do we got here? But the document reported for the first time, so it's the first time we're hearing about this, reveals new details about the vast scale of the recruitment and its unconventional strategy to, quote, flood the market with millions of dollars in spending for Snapchat ads. Snapchat ads. So I'm assuming that means they want to go for younger people. I don't use Snapchat at all. I think that's a younger audience, like a TikTok kind of thing. Interesting. Influencers and live streamers on Rumble. Okay, so that's like your right-wing conspiracy theory people. Just telling you who they're going after to recruit. Video platform popular with conservatives, right? Under the strategy, ICE would also use an ad industry technique known as geofencing to send ads to the phone web browsers and social media feeds of anyone who set foot near military bases, NASCAR races, college campuses, or gun and trade shows. Boy, there's a lot of details with this. And for those of you familiar with this stuff, so basically, I guess you can target ads based on someone's location or where you've been theoretically. So I guess if you have the data to track people knowing like everywhere they've been on Google Maps or whatever, depending on who you're working with or Palantir, and if we know you've been to a NASCAR race, maybe your social media, pinpoints you at a NASCAR thing or something, they'll get Elon Musk will hand over the data of all the users to that. I wouldn't be surprised in this kind of stuff, guys. You're seeing it right here. because they're talking about, I mean, this gives you a lot of information. Geofencing, right? Ads sent to phone, web browsers, and social media feeds of anyone who set foot near bases, NASCAR races, college campus, gun, or trade shows. They also want to go after young people, so right-leaning young people kind of things. This is really a recipe for disaster. The document was also distributed among ICE officials in the days after the agency published a request for bids seeking contractors who could use, quote, precise audience targeting, performance, media management results, and creative strategies. And these contracts are going to be out there. We'll probably start seeing the ads and such, I'm sure. The language in the published bid closely mirrored language in the strategy document, okay? DHS awarded 2 marketing firms nearly $40 million to support ICE's campaign. It's unclear how much of the spending strategy has been carried out. Okay, so this was sort of the document floated around. We don't know how much of it already spent, but $100 million total, I think, is what we've seen so far. The rapid recruitment approach is unlike anything ICE has ever pursued, said Sarah Saldana, director of the ICE, during the Obama administration, who recalled the agency filling its open positions through local police departments and sheriff's offices. So you can see the difference here. Before, like, you normally, if you're going to look for basically deportation officers, look for people with some sort of training already, be it right police or local police or sheriffs. Whereas the Trump people are looking like, hey, if you like NASCAR, you like guns, you hang out like around military bases, and you could make the case, so to be fair, you can make the case of going after former military, so you can make the case on that one. The NASCAR one doesn't really fit in, like, hey, if you like race cars, you should join ICE. It's more of the demographic who likes NASCAR. And the thing is with racing, which is interesting because I think, to my understanding, like, NASCAR is not everywhere in the country, but you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's more concentrated in, say, Midwest and Southern states. I grew up in Oregon. We weren't really NASCAR people there, but it may have changed now. It's certainly a possibility. That's who they're going for. She said she worries that the speed with which ICE is racing to bring on new hires, coupled with the ad campaign's framing of jobs as part of a war, will raise the risk the agency could attract untrained recruits eager for all-out combat. I mean, literally, like, that was my first reaction as well. And this is someone who, used to be part of recruiting for ICE under Obama. So she's literally saying the same thing. That was my first read on it. And I want to hear your guys' thoughts also. The appeal to law enforcement should not be, quote, the quicker we get out there and run over people, the better off the country will be. I mean, that's recruiting. Quote, that mentality you're fostering tends to inculcate in people a certain aggressiveness that may not be necessary in 85% of what you do, right? And you're also dealing with families, kids, these kind of things. I mean, the Trump people are trying to get these, like, aggressive, roided up kind of people. That's the easiest way to put it. Yeah, this is ugly. ICE deferred comment to Tricia McLaughlin. If you ever seen her on TV, I'll just say this. She's doesn't come across particularly qualified. And I'm saying it very nicely, but that is a lot of Trump's people, but she's one of the more worse ones. So anyway, she's, okay, what did she say? A DHS spokeswoman who did not dispute the detailed list, okay? So they're not disputing what's going on here. Quote from her, thrilled to see Washington Post highlight a wildly successful ICE recruitment campaign, which is under budget and ahead of schedule, sure. And I would dispute that because I know Noam likes to spend money. Patel, who's not necessarily part of ICE, he likes to spend money as well. So I would actually like to see numbers in this. And I've heard members of Congress saying, hey, tell us exactly how much you're spending, how much does it cost to do what you guys are doing. So I would question these things. So that's what they say. I have not seen numbers on this stuff recently. The agency, she said, has received more than 220,000 job applications in 5 months and issued more than 18,000 tentative job offers. So that may not be true. That's just what they say. So I'll just say that's just what they say. That's a better way to say it. More than 85% of the new hires had experience in law enforcement, she added. Okay, may or may not be true. That's what she says. Congress this summer tripled ICE enforcement and deportation budget to about $30 billion by passing the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. Actually, one thing I will say, I remember reading something that was recently, it was like a sheriff in Florida, and he was upset, I guess you could use that word, because ICE was trying to basically take all of his deputies, or however you want to say it, right? So that may be true in some cases that they have law enforcement experience. I will say this though also, and I should ask my friend to come on the show if he has time. I can ask him, but I've had him come on before. I have a friend who's was former Navy, and then is a police officer in Massachusetts. And I'll just say this: he said that there are some people in the force that shouldn't be, and I'm just saying it very nicely. So. Certainly not everyone is professional as my friend, and I'll be frank with you guys. Like, I talked to my friend quite a bit, and when he came on the show, we talked about if you're a police officer in the community, how you can develop and foster good relationships with the community, right? Not every police officer out there or sheriff is out there to hurt everyone, et cetera. It's just not. Like, for those of you who have ever had any kind of trouble, something like that, like, you want to be able to call the police, and they're there to do the proper thing. So I don't want to give the impression that everyone out there is a bad person, USA. And for those of you maybe watching that, you're like, yeah, my mom or dad are in law enforcement, or, that kind of thing. So I'll always make it clear on that stuff. There's a lot of people out there who do professional jobs, or those police officers that go into the schools that do good work for kids, protect us, right? That's what it is. That's what you want. And I get upset when I read this stuff, because it's just like, Trump's just using the government to divide people and attack people, and you're purposely putting out these aggressive messages and going after like the most, aggressive people in the USA. I'm saying it in nice ways, but you guys know what's going on here. Yeah, and they're still aiming for the 1 million deportations. What else they got here? To bolster recruiting, the agency has removed its age limits for applicants and offered signing bonuses. So that means they're going to go after really young people or old people. But and then whether or not you're going to get that 50,000 signing bonus, who knows? You never know with the Trump people. Like, there's always going to be some sort of contingencies and a way to cheat you. They're saying here salaries from 50 to 90 a year, I guess. I've also heard this, and I want to make this one clear also, that I think a lot of these people are, we'll just put it this way, some of them may be involved in domestic disputes with their spouses. And I've seen reports on that, because they have a lot of stress at work. They're aggressive people already to begin with. They're giving all these aggressive messages. They go out into a hostile environment, told to do crazy things. Basically, they do the crazy things, and then to deal with the stress, they'll go out and take it on their family. So this is just a bad situation all the way around. I just want to make that clear. And a lot of this is about leadership. If you encourage people to basically hurt other people, divide families for money, and you say, oh, you're helping the country, stuff like that. Like, there's a lot of other ways you can do this kind of stuff. And I also want to make it clear, sure, there are some people that you probably should deport. I got no problem with that. The big problem that we have, though, is the way Trump's doing it is lack of due process. That is the biggest problem for me. You'll see these videos are like, and they're all over there. You've seen them, to where the dudes show up in masks, right? So you don't know who these people are. They don't identify themselves. They don't give someone an opportunity to present any sort of documentation to prove who they are or anything like that. The lack of due process. Or you'll hold someone for a while and the person can't contact their lawyer. It's a massive problem. You're basically just kidnapping people, to be frank with you. You can tell in how they're recruiting it. It's just how it's going to go. Recruitment ads have proliferated across TV, radio, print, podcast, directing viewers to ICE hiring website, right? It's going to look at this kind of stuff. On social media, administrative accounts have mixed immigration raid footage with memes from action movies and video games, right? So these people aren't serious, and they'll use pop songs and stuff like that. They'll remember the one they were using like Pokemon kind of things, got to catch them all kind of stuff. Like, it's just so ridiculous how they paint these things. But to reach ICE rapid hiring, a goal of about 14,000 new enforcement and removal operation officers, Homeland Security agents, ICE lawyers, and support staff. The strategy document also calls for deploying more finely targeted digital advertising tools that can home in on viewers' interests and lifestyles. So what else do we have? ICE recruitment ads, the plan said, because you're kind of curious who they're going after, would be shown to people with interest in military and veterans affairs, okay? Physical training, conservative news, and politics. So they want people like really based on your political affiliation. And it seems like there would be a legal problem with that. And I'm just saying, just on just if you could consider this, like, say when the government's hiring, there shouldn't be any sort of political test or religious test, that kind of thing. And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I think that should be like a pretty standard in our hiring. Like you hire someone competent, but marketing to certain kind of people, I wonder if that is a legal problem right there, like how you're doing it. For those of you who in law, you can chime in on that one, on employment law, because that gets to be that's the thing that just jumped out to me just right away. The strategy said the target listeners are conservative radio shows, country music, and podcasts related to patriotism, men interest in true crime. It's funny, like they literally tell you the kind of profiling the kind of people they want, as well as any accounts that resembles users with interest in conservative thought leaders, gun rights, etc. So I wouldn't be shocked if your right-leaning people, be it your Benny Johnsons and Tim Pools or whatever, start advertising for ICE and stuff like that. I wouldn't be shocked. I'm sure that's what they're going to do. To further attract recruits, the strategy called for spending at least $8 million on deals with online influencers whose followers are largely Gen Z and millennials who are in military families, fitness, tactical lifestyle enthusiasts, etc. The document did not name specific influencers, right? But said it would focus on, quote, former agents, veterans, and pro-ICE creators. So I don't surf the, Rumbles and the Elon Musk platform for these pro-ICE creators. They must be out there. I'm sure they are. All this is I do see some of the right-wing people, and a lot of them are just frankly like really whacked out. And I don't know if they're doing like Pizzagate conspiracy kind of stuff. You never know. And this is the environment that we're in these days. Is people shout out like all kinds of crazy crap. It's nuts. And I'll just be frank with you guys. Like it's an ugly atmosphere on social media. If you, how can I say this? Let your darker sides get, control you. I'll put it that way. And I know how it is. If you say like crazy conspiracy crap, you get really popular on YouTube. If you talk like a normal person, people don't want to watch normal people. People want to watch like people wigging out all the time, and it's a frustrating environment. So so it looks like you're going to be seeing a lot of that kind of stuff. You may have, and this has actually been a big thing because I'm reading it too. It says blogs, Substacks, threads, etc. Is in Europe, they actually questioned Elon Musk essentially. Hey, how does your algorithm work? Where is the money coming from to promote your right-wing messages? This kind of stuff, right? There's going to be money pumping through social media companies to promote this stuff, this ICE stuff. So do be careful. We'll be seeing it next year. I mean, you can see it right here. The objective said is to build trust through authentic, quote, peer-to-peer messaging, but it's all paid for. And a lot of it, social influencers out there, I'll just say this, they're not on the up and up. I'll just be frank with you. Normalize and humanize careers in ICE through storytelling and lived experiences. So they'll probably have some sort of thing where they'll interview ICE people and they'll talk about arresting people or whatever, and they'll probably say a bunch of lies. I wouldn't be shocked on that. And sometimes if you turn to whatever social media channels that you watch, and if they're all saying the same message nonstop, it's a script, right? And it happens on left, right, etc. I tell you guys about this stuff before. People get upset when I tell you the truth, but I say what it is. But I know people get upset when you tell them that. When I say they're all scripted, and you'll know it because sometimes people say, Chris, you talk about stuff that other channels don't like to talk about because I'm independent. It's no script. I'm literally just talking to you like a normal person. I read this up and I say, hey, this is my thoughts. Right? There's no script. I want to be clear on that. Whereas other channels, if you wonder why they're all saying the same thing, showing the exact same stuff, it's because it's a script. That's what's going on. So this is clear. There's going to be money flowing in this stuff. So it says ICE has run ads, Google, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook, targeting the latter, the military veterans, and entry-level job seekers, right? So that's what they're going for. So that's what's going on. That's what Trump's up to. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this stuff. And I'll catch you on the next video.